Might have started a tiny bit early, but here we go, and it's a warm welcome to this week's race before break week at Silverstone. Tonight it is C1 on the PS4's turn to have a go around here. Still waiting on a few, maybe joining late. Hopefully, we got 13 drivers and a good battle ready to commence at Silverstone. Qualifying clearly in the dry. Also set up the sound, so hopefully that should be working properly as well. And okay, I have an update on the weather. Although I'm sure Prinz, I'm sure watches these afterwards, knows I don't usually like to have those updates. But there is an 80% chance of rain during the race, around halfway through. So that will also be interesting. Whilst we are on an outlap, with Bacon. Firstly, I must apologise, I wasn't here last week. We missed what was an excellent race, unfortunately, at Zandvoort. Well, fortunately for drivers, unfortunately not for the watchers. Jari won again, with Prinz starting to improve this season with a nice second place. Akeza getting a good result for third, which changed the championship just a little bit. Let me just get that up for you before we really get running in this qualifying session for some sort of quick update. The standings are, of course, championship leader Jari, but Prinz has found his way back up into second place. And, well, if Jari has a bad race, Prinz has a good one, he's right back into the championship. And Jordan Mason starting to drop down quite a bit, but then there's a big drop to the midfield where there's a battle with Crash, Nadim, who's here today, and Brexcan and Maggot, as we see Bacon go through the first sector and losing the back end quite a lot through pretty much all the corners. Struggling his way through the first sector at Silverstone. I'm now going to switch over to the YouTube comments section, so if you got anything to discuss during the race, as once again Bacon struggling a little bit. I think we got someone in here that's happy to get this thing underway. Bacon's now invalidated at some point. Let's have a look. We've got Sammy here. Definitely new from me, and so is Lansley as well. I'm not sure if they were there last week or if they joined last week, but what I do know is that they're racing tonight, so we'll find out their pace. We also find out Jordan Mason's pace with a 1:27.8, the first lap to be set. Lansley's got a bit of support in the chat, so coming out of the chapel, so we'll have a wee look at the end of the Ferrari driver's lap. Let's get on board. I like purple. I think it came up purple in the middle sector, taking a good apex and a decent exit too, through here into the club section, but invalidates his lap right at the end, and that was extremely unfortunate because that's going to invalidate his next lap as well. What do we have? Let's see, he's on mediums, so he's taking a bit of a gamble. Who wasn't taking a gamble was Prinz, 1:27.333, but that is nearly matched with Jari on the mediums of 1:27.5. Only 2 tenths behind on a worse compound tyre. I do wonder if Prinz let off towards the end and will be going for mediums. Maggot also on the mediums. Let's see what the time he can get as he comes through the final corner. It's a 28.4. Puts him in last place right now. And Andre Ivan passes over the finish line and sets a 27.7. So Frenzy must have invalidated and has again. Too Fast for You coming through the first sector as well, down the Hamilton Straight, as it's now being called. But a big run wide here, so it's not. Who's just joined? It's Keza. So the second of the McLarens is back. As you can see, Lansley into the pits. Too Fast for You is too fast for himself, and he's just about saved that. Look at that piece of wind coming flying as Frenzy and someone else was a hit. It wasn't Frenzy even, it was someone else. Yeah, that was that's what happens. Just push that a little bit too hard, lose the back end. What he's lucky, the Ferrari, is that he is still in this qualifying session. Invisible, as the joke was made, became visible, and he's actually thrown it onto pole position with the 27.1. Now that could put the cat amongst the pigeons. Let's see, Too Fast for You. What? Oh, how on earth that happened? It's in the pit lane. I wonder if Andre Ivan's also got himself a penalty. Let's get an onboard now with Keza. This is definitely a slow lap, this. I think it's a slow lap anyway, but let's see, anybody out there? I think Frenzy, but no, he's invalidated. Invisible's still flying round, but this is a slow-ish lap as well. We're getting a bit of lull. A few out laps though. So what I'm going to do during this... Oh well, there is a problem there with the timing. What I'm going to do with this lull is just check the race director in terms of... Yeah, Too Fast for You got a grid penalty in the pit lane from... and he was the car in front, so Andre Ivan. Bit of a shame there, I'm not really sure how that's happened. Trying to find the next car that will be going across the finish line. There's Nadim, in fact. Yes, Nadim's on a lap on the medium, so's Keza on the softs though. Oh, and there we go. I'm really putting the pressure on the drivers, it seems. Maybe even a bit of a curse. He got on the brakes quick enough to make sure he didn't go slamming into the Armco, and oh, Nadim's losing it too on his mediums. There's extremely long corner which used to lead on to the start finish straight, but that's a giving up on the lap, and no real surprise there. Let's see, Jordan Mason, sorry if this also ends up screwed up a little bit. Invisible onto the mediums, and so's Prince. So I think maybe even both of them giving up on their times, which is a bit crazy really, because they went quickest. Yes, I thought it was, thanks Kai, I did think, yeah, I did think it was Invisible's first race of the season. And yeah, as you say, a very strong showing. On pole right now, Jordan Mason making a good run there, lifting slightly to make sure you don't go wide and not go flying anywhere near those barriers. But now through the Maggots, Beckett's, and now Chapel Complex. A bit onto the grass, I think, there, but mostly keeping the speed of 27.8 is what he's trying to improve on. Someone hasn't quite survived the fast left, sorry, when you're going to, sorry, fast right-hander, sorry, as you can see in the mini-map. But Jordan Mason did, and puts in a good lap of a 1:27.5, and let's just see who it was, in fact. Yeah, there you go, he's still struggling. It's Sammy, actually, in the AlphaTauri. He'll be able to continue. Prince finishing his lap, this time on the mediums. Does improve slightly on his soft tyre run. Frenzy's been out there and done a load of laps on the softs. You think, does he think he's in the race? At this point, that's his 5th lap and he's yet to actually have a valid time. Might get out there on a lap, but let's see. Yanni's in the pits. The Ferrari that's got some fans missed him setting his lap. Is 120, yeah, it's 1:27.2, letting other cars go past. That'd be Frenzy. Jordan Mason will be into the pits. A few drivers are already in the pits. Maggot's improving by just over 6/10, flying it and ringing the car through there to the final, the final complex of corners. And we'll come to the finish line right on the exit, really. And it's almost a 2nd improvement by Maggot. That's massive to find. And it's up to 6th place. It's a very close midfield, really, here. And they're not too far off the front either. Keza flying round. I don't know if this is an outlap again, because it's not showing it is an outlap. Too fast for you, down in 13th. On the mediums, I think there might be an argument to get in onto the softs, and it's a 1:28.5, only improving him above drivers that haven't actually set a time yet, and still 4/10 off of Buell in front, so he'll need to probably put on the softs if he wants to get into the top 10. Keza. Mercedes, he's not in the Mercedes, mate. He's in the McLaren. But in the other, one of the other cars using Mercedes engines, in the Aston Martin, Invisible. It seems to be improving again, sticking with the softs. It seems to be his race choice, or his race tyre. The DRS now down the main straight. And then probably one of the top overtaking places on the track when it comes to the race anyway. And the Aston Martin driver enjoying this lap. And let's see, can he break that 27? Yes, he does. It's a 1:26.8. Just in the 1:26.8. But there you go, first man under the 1:27 mark in today's qualifying. Kenyatta, who, I'm not saying it's a bad performance, but in comparison to what we have expected in the past, even in qualifying, 7th is not great for Yai, although he has once before came through the field to get the job done, and he may have to do that again, but he's got this lap going, and actually it's a 7/10 improvement, so I'll wash away all I've said there. And that second sector, Yari is up 7/10, which would put him fighting for that pole position basically with his Red Bull. Can he do it with 3.5 minutes to go? There's not going to be too much time to set more laps, and yes, it's a big pole position, improves by a second, and it's a 1:26.5 for Yai, who, in fairness, that first lap I believe was on the medium, so it's quite a big improvement for quite a good reason as well. Is Keza still out there? Yeah, yes, but it is a slow lap. Too fast for you. Let's see. Oh, Frenzy went out at some point when I was following stuff that was happening. I wonder if he just retired the car in the pits, because I see the white of a Haas in the pit lane on the minimap. So that could be what happened there. That couldn't set a lap time, so just decided not to bother. So we'll. I was thinking go on board with Sammy, but unfortunately he hasn't validated very, very early on. Kez is going to go for another lap. No, yeah, this was the out lap. I think this will be the first of the main laps starting, final runs, and it'll be Keza. So here we go. One of the final runs. Wow, that is an awful camera angle. For qualifying anyway. So this is one of the final runs in this qualifying session, and it is Keza in the McLaren that will get us underway. Not the best exit there through turn 4. 5 with the through turn 5 onto the straight, and yeah, Keza was way down on their time and has given that one up. Nadim, he's parked it up in the pits. He's on the mediums, in third place at the moment, and feels happy with that. Now, of course, looking at the fact that we do expect rain, it's quite interesting to see Nadim be happy with the medium time. Quite clearly he would have been quicker on the softs and maybe challenging for pole. So maybe the rain will come later and he won't have to pit. But you can make these softs last a very long time at Silverstone, whether or not you've qualified on them. So it's a bit surprising. So I've been talking about the team whilst we watched Maggot in the Williams. I've said before this season, an old teammate of mine has done an excellent job getting quicker through the seasons. We were in C3 together, I believe it was, a few seasons ago in last year's game. And he is in C1 now, and fairly competitive as well in the races, and does an excellent job. So as he comes to the end of the lap, we will see if he can make a more competitive time out of this. Yari has decided to finish, and it's up to third for Maggots with a 1:27.2. So that's a good job. Prinz slightly up first sector. Ferrari here. Lanzi coming through. Oh, to make it a sub 27. Good result there into third. Invisible still going round. And he's going to get held up now. I think Puyol is actually on a fast lap, but I think he's a lot slower. Yeah, that's your problem there. He's been caught up behind a slower car, but is still doing a fast lap. Yeah, Prinz invalidated probably at the corner before, so that's not going to be an improvement. What we do have is Andre Ivan on a fast lap, but just invalidates as we come on board, so that's done. Bacon's done. Sam's in the pits. Bureau's still going round, but slower than his fastest lap. Invisible still going round, but as we've seen, here you can see for yourself that the gap there between the drivers in terms of their fastest lap is well over a second. And that's why Invisible did not get the chance to take the pole position back from Yari. So earlier where I was saying they may be struggling, might have to fight through the pack at the beginning of the race. No, he don't. He takes another pole position and another extra point for that pole position to add to his championship tally, leading the championship by way over 40 points. But it is a 40 points you get for the win. So, like I said, all it has to do to really narrow this gap in the championship is for Yari to have a non-finish, and Prince, who is in a bit of bother down in 6th now, to win, and he's got himself much closer. He doesn't even have to win, he'll get himself much closer. It's the extra excitement that comes with the point system that was introduced last season, with the top 15 getting points and 40 points for the win. So 14 drivers. Frenzy didn't set a time. Too Fast for You will start 14th though, because he's got a time penalty. I'm starting down there. But Yari on the pole, visible in his first race of the season, 2nd. Lindsay 3rd, Maggot 4th, Nadim 5th, Prince in 6th, Jordan 7th, Keza 8th, Andre Ivan 9th, Bacon 10th. And you would be able to see the rest before I started rushing through them. So I was told, I'm just going to talk to loads of screens, not usually, but I was told that it's expected 80% chance of rain in the middle of the race. That is what we're being told. It looks okay. Someone is just automatically press start, which was not a very clever thing, and I'm sure we'd like to see who did that, because some drivers will want to actually have time to look at their strategies, their fuel particularly, because it starts higher, and their tyres. They might want to do something different that way, but they only had 30 seconds to do anything about that, because somebody readied up straight away, which is a bit ridiculous. But doesn't matter. We're going to go on the formation lap. What's done is done. And now we're going to see what drivers have chosen. So Nadim and Prince qualified on mediums. It's probably their choice to start a little bit further down the grid on the mediums. Softs, as you can see, for Yari, you're expected to go to lap 10. You can go further. But yeah, so top 10 starts on the tyres they qualified on. Outside the top 10, only one driver starting on softs, and that's Too Fast for You. Frenzy will start on mediums, and Sammy will also start on mediums. Buell has chosen to go onto the hards. So how late is that rain coming? If Buell is using a tyre that you would never use in this race, you can take the hards the whole race, but you're not allowed to. You can do two soft runs and get to the end if you were allowed. You could definitely do 2 medium turns to get to the end. So there's absolutely no way you would ever need to use the hard. So I'm very surprised to see anyone touching it. So yeah, so predictions. If anybody wants to throw in predictions and who thinks of one, just remind yourself that there is rain expected, and we don't exactly know when. Just halfway through the race. So who's on the best strategy for that? Is it those guys that qualified in the mediums? Will it come maybe like 15, 16? And that would work pretty well for them. You know, against the softs, because they'll have to try and drag them. That's all I expect. I expect the soft and medium to both trying to drag their tyres to when it's going to rain. And I guess Buell making sure he gets to when it rains by going onto the hards. But yeah, so I've got to say, I still think Yari's in a very good position to win this race again. Invisible putting on a great show in the qualifying session. Maybe he can threaten that dominance as well, and you can always count on Prince to try and come through the field. It's the same you can say for quite a few drivers, but Prince being second in the championship, let's see, after improving his start. But we've got the 5 lights coming on. They're now on, getting ready to go, and it's lights out and away go at Silverstone for C1, and it's Frenzy getting a good start. But remember, he was they're Too Fast for You getting a good start, but there you go. Yari pushed right out to the extremities of the track. It's gonna be a side-by-side move by Invisible, but he doesn't quite make it. Maggot's up to third. He's got ahead of the Ferrari, who keeps it in there around turn 4. Prince has made up the position on Nadim and gets through without a problem. Too Fast for You making a great start, getting himself up to 10th with those softs. It's a bit of a run down to the braking zone, and Maggot loses 2 positions down the straight. Lanzi up to 3rd, and Prince gets past him as well. Nadim's still in 6th. Jordan Mason hasn't managed to make up any positions, and that was a clean first half of the lap. At the front, you're actually starting to pull away. Lanzi is keeping up pretty well with Invisible, and Maggot keeping up with it as well. The softs should be quicker at this point, so there should not be an issue. And there's the answer. Bureau made a mistake. He wanted the mediums, but is now on the hards. Well, that, to be fair, probably makes a lot more sense as he actually gets past Frenzy, but it goes way too deep into the corner and is down in 14th and losing time. Oh, that's a close one there, and it's really squeezed out Jordan Mason. It's going to make... Is it possible for Baker too far behind, actually? And Andre Ivan not able to make the attack in the back of the midfield. Too Fast for You, who got a great start, has now been passed again. He's now down to 12th, and it's Sammy that's on the attack, and it's now Too Fast for You that's on the attack, and Sammy, he's going to send it. Sammy leaves the room, sneaks it up the inside, keeps the possession. Even down the bottom of the field, you get these nice battles going on. Even Bureau, oh no, that's just a timing glitch. He is losing quite a bit of time. The team holds on. It's Prince that's really making gains on the mediums at this point, which, as I said, just expect the second place in the championship guy. That's Prince to come through the field. He didn't have to come through too many people. He's only made 2 overtakes at this point, and I think, well, it shows Sammy's lost the position he has. Bureau off, the grip or lack of thereof on the hards coming to fruition, and yeah, that was a big mistake to put on the hards accidentally. But again, if you're put in that rush when someone readies up so early, mistakes can happen, and it's like really unfair, but that's something that someone's going to have to have a word about, because that may be part of the accident there with the choosing of the wrong tyres. Anyway, let's go see who's best to watch here, because we have got a few drivers that were out of position. Bacon being one of them. He tends to have a good race pace in him, and so does Jordan Mason, who's right up behind Keza, but then Keza usually has decent race pace whenever he's able to join, but he's actually losing place on his teammate Nadim, and that's going to run wide for the Mercedes driver. Andre Ivan right behind, but nowhere to go, and with what's going to become a bit of a DRS train, actually I think, yeah, Jordan Mason's going to get this done on the straight. He's not even going to need the braking zone, and up to 7th he goes with no problem. Prince and the Ferrari of Lanzi having a battle. A nice defensive driving by the Ferrari driver, but Prince gets past at the last corner and makes the position up, and moves over to the racing line and keeps the position from the Ferrari, who is going to have to hold it back. But he will have the DRS zone, and so will Maggot and Nadim. So this is a nice little battle for third as the Ferrari loses the back end, but catches it back up, but it's going to give Maggot a run down Hamilton Street into the braking zone. He's going around the outside, and he's going to keep it in there, but he doesn't manage to keep it in there. as the Ferrari stays just ahead. So this, I think, is going to be the battle, really, and what Prince will be hoping is that he can catch up to his teammate Invisible. But what we have right now is that isn't quite happening, because oh, here we go, Maggot. He's got DRS, so does the Ferrari ahead, but he's got the better straight line speed. Maggot seems to be quicker down the straight, he's just not close enough. And Keza got past Jordan Mason in the braking zone, but it's going to be a fight back, I think. Jordan Mason was hoping to fight that back, but nope, Keza places the car very well, and I don't think he quite had the speed that I was expecting coming out of there. Maggot picking up a 3-second time penalty as we join on board with them. That's an early one. Bureau at the back also having one, but he's kind of stuck with the hards now until there's another option. Maybe a safety car could give him that option. But Andre Ivan sneaks past Bacon, but now Bacon's going to have the DRS. So does Andre though. So that's going to help him and save his Bacon. But no, he's went wide. And that's going to get the Mercedes driver a run. He's going to have to go round the outside though here, and that's going to be difficult. He's still there, but yeah, it's just a bit longer of a run. But if he can get the slipstream, what she's gathering, he's going to go for this. Yeah, he is going for it. Oh my goodness. Andre kind of off the track a little bit, but he has retained the position. And getting followed through Maggots and Beckett's exit Chapel, DRS on the exit, and it's going to be like a sitting duck really down the straight as Jordan Mason gets past Keza ahead as well, and I think Sammy also getting through on Too Fast For You. All these battles going on at once. Prince still ahead of the Ferrari in 4th place with Maggot right behind that, but Nadim has actually caught this well and truly up on his mediums. Lap 6 of 26. Still no sign of that rain that we've been promised. Jordan Mason only 2.5 seconds behind this. If these guys keep holding each other up, you can see Jordan Mason making up the gap. Nadim's got a good run here on Maggot, but it's just straight's just a little bit too short. Maggot doesn't run wide like Ivan did with Bacon. Too Fast For You further down the field just gets past Sammy again. They're having a wee scrap back there, but we are still watching this as Prince is catching on his teammate. It's a 2.2 second gap now to Invisible. So it's right behind Nadim chasing Maggot. He's got DRS. Maggot has DRS as well though, but won't have slipstream to help him. It's just not enough DRS, and it's here again. It's Keza and it's Jordan Mason just passing each other left and right, and the same going on between the Ferrari and AlphaTauri down in 11th and 12th. 4 second gap for the first Red Bull of Yari to Invisible, and that gap is now less than 2 seconds. Nadim does seem quicker than Maggot at this point, on his mediums as well, but the DRS is kind of keeping Maggot in this, and he may have faster straight line, but he seems to be still pulling away. Of course, Maggot still has the DRS himself. Once again, swapping positions for 11th down the field. Jordan Mason looks close, but I doubt a move to be made here. He looks close, but he clearly wasn't even thinking about it. He's got an excellent run though through there, and he's, you can tell if he could get side by side he would have probably went for it, but he just couldn't quite make it. Oh, and oh, that's a big one. He's on the straight. What on earth has happened there? And the safety car, no surprises that there's a safety car now. There's obviously two possibilities, is that Yari and Invisible enter the pits, and Prince will actually take the lead then. There's only two options of what happened there. And that is, and I'm sorry for our fans of the Ferrari, but that's ended in complete disaster. He's either spun coming out of the of Chapel and somehow ended up a little bit further down the field, sorry, down the straight, or there has been contact on the straight. Sorry to have missed that. We were obviously watching as many of the midfield battles as possible as well, which was having quite a good scrap at the time. To the point that we missed what happened behind Prince. I don't know. I'll just see if anything has been said in Discord. I don't think it will have been said in the Discord yet anyway. Nope, nothing so far. He may also come into the live stream. He was asking earlier. Would it be streamed, and the answer is of course yes. So he knows that we are here all enjoying this race. So hopefully we can hear what did happen. Otherwise I'll probably be hearing it quite a lot later on in the Discord chat. Now, so we find ourselves behind the safety car. We'll just do the stops. So basically the top four did not stop during that, whilst everyone from Yari down has. So let's just put it to the tyres. Buell onto the soft. So this might really save his race in a way. Although he's managed to pick up penalties, but so is Maggot. So let's have it. Yari's went on to mediums, invisible mediums as well. Keza on to soft, Bacon soft, Jordan Mason, no, Bacon medium, Jordan Mason medium, Andre Ivan soft, Too Fast For You medium, Frenzy medium, Buell is on softs. So there we go. Really. So a turnabout in fortunes there for Prince, especially if it rains, like we've been told it will, before he has to pit again. That is basically would give him track position. But unfortunately, that may not be the case, because that is still looking pretty bright. Yeah, I mean, still definitely more overcast than what it was. But those clouds looking, it's still looking quite bright. Things here can change on a dime, and we will see if it does rain. 80% was what I was told. 80% chance of rain, and if we don't get it, well, that is, well, there was still 20% chance there wouldn't be. So I guess it's still possible. So if that does become the point, we may have we'll have a switch in fortunes, where it will be Prince at the front and Yai having to come through the field. If that is what happens. But we do have the safety car in this lap. You can tell I was stalling for time. But there you go, and look at that, all the lovely weaving. They say in real life it doesn't actually mean anything, it's just something to do, but I can tell you something, in the game it absolutely does help to keep those tyre temperatures, or at this point probably actually get the temperature into your tyre. So Prin's probably going to bolt it as soon as he gets out of this corner. We'll watch this weird camera angle. He's not bolted yet. He's going to go into the straight before he goes. Yeah, he waited till the very last second before going, and I'm pretty sure that would have caught a few drivers unawares as Keza sneaks past the second place, the guy that was in second place before this safety car, and so does Bacon. Sammy also getting passed by Yari, and oh, Keza out of nowhere right round the outside. And Dean chasing down on Maggot. A very interesting start as Sammy goes side by side with Bacon and gets that position back. A little bit of I wouldn't say a push, but oh my god, 3 wide, there's definitely contact there. This could be carnage. Will this work out? Oh, they actually managed to get through that unscathed, all and Sammy losing positions though. And it's Bacon up to 6th and Invisible in 7th. I don't know where to look. This is absolutely fantastic action. And it's going to be a switching about on the straight as we've seen earlier. Later braking by Jordan Mason gets him past Sammy, and Invisible back past Bacon, but Invisible out of DRS and Bacon sticking it around the outside. That becomes the inside. Invisible's going to lose the position. Yari behind Nadim. They have had battles earlier in the season that we've seen. Hopefully the connection will not play any part. You can see the slight red connection though, so hopefully that will not play any part, as I said. This for 3rd place, and you're trying to come back through the field. Prince starting to make gains and gain big on Maggot and being stuck behind Nadim. That is not going to be good for Yari, possibly anyway. He had made an over 4-second gap the last time I looked at, probably much larger than that before the safety car came out. He chose to pit though, and that has put him out of position. But it may come back to him because the only ones ahead of him are people that haven't pit. So net race leader unless, unless it rains basically. And it started to rain. You can just see it still looks bright, but it has started to rain. This might really work out for Prince, who's actually in that middle sector, gets closed in. But yeah, this might really work out for Prince, Maggot and Nadim. Yari's still in a good situation and a good position, and I wouldn't rule him out still winning it. The DRS enabled because we're a couple of laps after that safety car period now. But well, that'll definitely be a warning, and he's going to use that to try and overtake. It's a little bit, should you really be doing that? But Nadim is keeping it stuck in there. Oh, and Yari loses the back end and accidentally nudges Nadim. Now, in truth, it would be very nice if he gave the position back, but Keza floated through, so there's no way for Yari to give the position back after the slight collision that happened, so losing the rear on the now damp track. And all these drivers will just start to struggle that little bit with these dry tyres on a wet track. 3 seconds penalty for Frenzy, so those guys at the back starting to struggle quite a bit with their tyres, and Sammy doing the same. 3-second time penalty. Well, Maggot absolutely picking up the pace, but in Yari, 3-second time penalty and going for it on Maggot. Maggot should keep the position. It's quite a late move, but you know what? Yari's made it stick. He's made it stick quite a bit, and Keza Oh, watch from Nadim as the wheel banging in front goes on with Maggot and Keza. Maggot's starting to lose possessions. Those softs have been on since the beginning of the race and will be starting to really fall off the cliff. But Nadim behind, not quite able to get past him. We've seen that Maggot's got good straight line speed and obviously trying to hold on till the crossover point. The same as Prince, and now it's a battle between the leaders in the championship. It's 1 and 2 in the championship. It's Prince, it's Yari, and it's about to get on. And who'll be quicker? It should be Yari with the fresher tyre. But yeah, that rain is starting to really calm down. And of course Prince does not have any penalties as well. Not sure how close he may be to penalties, but right now he's safe. Prince diving to the left, trying to defend the position, getting onto the defensive line, keeping it round the inside, weirdly enough. But no, Yari keeps the position. No, he doesn't. Prince keeps it round the outside, which becomes the inside, and keeps the position ahead of the Red Bull. Bell pointing out that Yari overtook someone after cutting a corner. Well, that would have to be reported to the stewards. Did point it out myself, but that certainly did happen. And we'll see what they make of it if that happens. But down the Hamilton Straight, and it's going to be easy for Yari at that point. But if Prince can stay close enough, we shouldn't see a problem, I would think, of Prince being able to get the run on the main straight and right back down the inside of the Red Bull. But he has to follow behind in the dirt air through Maggotts, Beckett's and Chapel first. And he'll stay within half a second, just about, 6/10 actually in the end. Oh, you see just cycles. Jordan Mason now a 3-second time penalty. Half a second, he's too far behind, and he will be. The team, they're all too far behind. Actually, no, they're not. Invisible sending it on Bacon. Bacon coming back down. Hopefully Invisible knows he's there. He does. Leaves him the space. Cuts round. There's going to be contact. It's in the wet. Bacon spins. He's going to lose a couple of positions. He's not really getting onto the throttle well enough, and he's going to have tumbled all the way down the field. Prince in for Inters, isn't he? Oh, he must have. I didn't even see him pitting, but yeah, he was in super early actually. Him and Frenzy as well. As we were watching it from behind, Prince must have dived into the pit lane. So, if this is the right time to come in, Prince is going to gain hand over fist. And Maggot on the throttle too early. He saves it, but he will be passed by the Aston Martin. Okay, so the little bit of contact we've seen at Vale, and a couple of more penalties, and another one actually for Yai. Invisible picking up his first. Prince still not on any penalties. Let's have a look. Nadim still got DRS, but I don't know who's the quickest here. I see Prince is losing time to Bacon, so absolutely was too early, and Keza into the pits as well. Prince was too early, he's losing time. And I think the three that are into the pits now might also still be too early and will lose time. It's difficult to get that call exactly right. Sometimes you can just use the game's call of the DRS is disabled, but sometimes you can continue with the tries even after that, and sometimes you're quicker being on the inters before that. So You never know. There's so many on the inters now, but I think they're going to all lose a bit of time still. Invisible on the Deem, obviously, was a little bit of a contention there with Bacon from earlier, but I think he wouldn't have spun if it was dry. And he was sticking it up the inside there, and it was going to be extremely difficult for both of them. But that is racing, and it was good racing. Just a shame it ended up with one spinning, and it's still got Invisible struggling obviously, and probably got a warning there. Got DRS still on Nadim, who's in technical second place. We can look. Keza is kind of not losing time anymore, actually, but not really gaining it. In fact, he did lose there. Yari into the pits, so he's now saying it's time to pit. And Sammy into the pits as well. Lap 17, and I'm now looking at the track and thinking, yeah, it's getting to that point, isn't it? It's starting to get there. Let's have a wee look. Keza, that's actually he's got to Sammy, so that will be coming down. Let's have a look at Yariti's teammate. And that time, that's starting to come down, isn't it? By tenths on tenths. But that time it went up, so the traction is still with the dries. Straight line, there won't be ever that much of a difference, but the traction is definitely with the dries. There's your guys on inters. All in with penalties, or most of them with penalties. Bio losing the back end, and he's struggling even on these inters, and he's spinning all over the place, and a bit of an unfair time penalty there. He just can't get control of the car, to be quite honest. He's getting on the accelerator whilst very low in the revs, and that was not clever either, how quickly he's, I don't think he's taking it seriously at this point. The revs were far too low to start battering up the gears. Anyway, into the pits eventually comes Nadim, Invisible, Andre Ivan and Jordan. Everyone's going to be on inters now. I think it's about exactly the right time to do it. So let's see how much time Yari has either gained or lost. And in fact, let's just see. Remember, these weren't the ones directly behind him, but no, he's definitely gained time in the end. So I think Yari's probably done it on the exact correct lap. He's gained a couple of seconds to what it would have been to Nadim and Invisible. And oh, here we go. Andre Ivan on Keza. Just behind, you can see that Prince, oh, that got close there. It's still, DRS is still available. It's not too wet for DRS, but yeah, Prince came in far too early and has lost a hatful of positions, along with a few other people that came in too early as well, like Frenzy came in that same lap. On we go there for Andre Ivan, who may have just have the better temperatures for the tyres. The ones that went in earlier may have actually slightly overheated those tyres, and DRS is now disabled. Everyone's already on the inters. Yeah, so Yari, in my opinion, came on in the right lap. When he came in along with the other four that came in. The other four came in on the one lap too late, but still much better on pitting before Yari did, which has found them a bit further down the field and has pretty much given this race to Yari. He is the quickest, he definitely was in quality. Invisible finds himself back into third, but Nadim, biggest gainer out of all the... well, actually no, Andre Ivan is, but in terms of podium, it's Nadim. Andre Ivan and Too Fast For You have made up quite a few, particularly actually Andre Ivan, because he was battling Too Fast For You down for 11th and 10th with a bit earlier, but just getting that call correct when the switch over to the wets, not going too early, not going too late, was all the correct. But unfortunately that's Bacon Round as I'm talking nonsense. He's lost the back end, and oh, we've got a three-way battle here. We'll see with the off-board shot, and yeah, Prince gets past Keza, so did Jordan Mason, and the three of them going into the maggots, and Beckett's with Prince was hoping to have a little look. We won't have DRS anymore, that did get disabled on the last lap. We are on lap 19 of 26. It's looking like it won't get to heavy rain. No DRS to help, as I just said, with overtaking anymore, so they're going to have to do it the old-fashioned way. Prince will probably have got a warning for that, but I think he's kept it very clean with track limits for most of, if not all of the race. Now you have to remember, before we get this, Yari will end up behind Nadim if he doesn't make that 6-second gap. Bacon with a penalty. That's his first penalty of the race after that spin and losing lots of time, unfortunately for him. Prince, he would wanted this race to kind of close the gap. I think that's Keza with first penalty as well. Or sorry, wanted to close the gap on Yari, but in fact that gap is only going to get bigger with him sitting in a 6th place position and Yari up there with the whole 40 points. Okay, looks like it could be another move here, but no, just not making enough time in the slipstream. But oh, here we go, he's sending it up the inside. This could be quite dangerous. There's no touch, and that's an excellent overtake, an absolutely fantastic overtake, and made even more difficult in the wet. He still gets it done. Fantastic from Prince, and he's got a 4 and a bit second gap to make up to Andre Ivan, but of course he's still got to look out for Jordan Mason coming right back at him. Only really a few battles going on right now. Is this one? It's actually dare I say it, oh, Keza goes deep, and that might give Maggot a go. It does give Maggot a run into the final corner. They're going to touch. Ooh, that got close, and if Maggot didn't back out, it would have been a disaster for Maggot and possibly Keza as well. But yeah, Jordan Mason and Prince, that battle was yeah, that battle absolutely included both of them. It doesn't really anymore. I think Keza might have even backed out slightly on the move, or the defense I should say, but still managed to get it done. But yeah, that got really close to ending in tears. It didn't though, and we continue going, but I was going to say it was a 4-way battle, but Jordan Mason pulled away from Keza, and Prince is pulled away from Jordan Mason. What's getting close actually, and I was going to say it might be because Invisible is using more ERS. He isn't, in fact. Nadim's got less ERS to play with. He's not getting quite close enough at the bottom of the straight. But will Maggot be close enough to Keza at this point? It looks like he could be. Send it around the outside. No. Good defensive driving there from Keza, but Maggot's going to come down the inside. Here, it seems quicker from the McLaren. Just squeezes him a bit. and no mistake this time by Keza. That actually lets him pull away a little bit. He's got a battle here. Too fast for you, and that's for 9th. And it's coming round. We've not actually had too much. A couple of spins in the wet. It's a little bit on the transitional phase as well, from dry to wet. But the only actual crash with a DNF and safety car happened during the dry of all times. So we do have this going on. Invisible, first race back, being able to race this season. Next week's break week as well, but round 7, Invisible joins back and is in 3rd place, chasing down 2nd in his first race of the season here in RLH, and I must say that's a good showing for a first race of the season. He's still behind the team. Maggot and Keza. Maggot too far behind her. Frenzy might have a look actually here in his house on Sammy, but I think Sammy just about had the slipstream on Too Fast For You. Don't Maggot, it's starting. They're starting a lap 23. Yari way off in the lead now, 8.3 seconds. Because that will be reduced to 2.3 after the penalties kick in. Bill with another penalty. He's really struggling. Maggot. ERS is all he's got to play with, and it's just not enough because guess what? Keza has that too. All he really needs, all he really wants here is for a mistake by Keza will allow him to get past. He's going to struggle to get anything else, and it's another spin for Bacon. He's really struggling in these wet conditions. Beal as well struggling in the wet conditions. That's why they're so far off the back of the rest of the pack. Using ERS's frenzy here to catch Sammy, it's not really going to help him all that much. Going into Maggots and Beckett's. No DRS has been explained. Yari's already started lap 24 of 26, so I doubt we'll see any safety car anymore. And Invisible has fell back beyond a second, so it's nowhere near close enough to make a move on Nadim anymore. Maybe you can close that in. Keza is still closing in. Sorry, Maggot's still closing in on Keza, but that will not matter anymore, as he has got 6 seconds penalties. A few people have 6 seconds. It's Maggot, Too Fast For You, and Sammy and Yari in the lead, but that will not matter at this point. Most had 3, except from Bio at the back on 14, although I do think a 5-second could probably be removed from what I've seen. But not likely to make any difference even if it was. He's got 3 3-second time penalties. Yeah, so Invisible used his tyres now, trying to keep up with Nadim, and I think it'll be 3rd place for him. Prince is looking like he'll get 4th, actually. But let's see, Sammy is defending. Oh, there's a bit of an issue there. But yeah, Sammy defending now from Frenzy, who I think is quicker, but just can't get past. He needs to just use this ERS, get into the slipstream. Will we see it? Not quite. It's just not close enough, and not got the straight line speed to be close enough. And that's curtains for that move, and it's lap 25 for Maggot and Keza, as well as championship leader and race leader, who's surprised, Yari as well, up in the lead. Just trying to, I would usually want to give Yari some time. Sammy with another 3-second time penalty, and Too Fast For You with another 3-second time penalty. A few 9 seconds now creeping in. Frenzy is about to make up quite a few positions out of nothing. But yeah, so I would usually want to be looking at the front, but the battles are happening towards the in the midfield. And, oh, and there's Prince. Prince was on for 4th, as long as he stayed close enough to Andre Ivan. But he has now picked up one of his own penalty, and oh, it's wonder if it's both of them, but that is Buell off again and struggling. Don't put on the RS yet. So what we'll do, Yari in the way as the rain gets heavier on his final lap. Nadim's starting to close in, but he just needs to stay within 6 seconds and not pick up another penalty. Bacon picks up a penalty of his own. We'll go through the first sector. It's really slow and really treacherous, as you can tell. He's struggling to keep the car, using some ERS down the straight on this final lap. Needs to keep the gap, of course. Nadim, the only driver not getting a penalty, and he deserves driver of the day just for that, to be quite honest. Everybody's been struggling to keep it on track, especially when it got wet. It's coming through the second corner. He's actually will come across Buell he might come across Buell because he's spun again on the straight. Yari coming through Maggots and Beckett's for the final time. This will be a well-deserved win. He got the gap, as much as well, as Phil pointed out, he's taking umbrage with some things that he's seen, but Yari in the Red Bull coming through the final sector now to take another win this season. He'll go well beyond 200 points at the halfway mark. Next week's break week, I'll be away anyway, so that's lucky. And he comes through the final corner, over the line, stops the car from spinning and takes the win in Britain. And Nadim in the McLaren will come through at the same time. We were getting towards wets, and that is only 1.2 seconds, so could be penalties coming on the charts if someone was complaining enough. Look, it got really close at the end to taking the position, but Prince doesn't make it on Andre Ivan, and Invisible will take the final pot on the podium. Keza and Maggot had a great battle, but it is going to be Keza that will take the position. Maggot and Maggot 8 and Jordan Mason 7. Too Fast For You will come across 9th and 10th, but Frenzy will jump both of them up to 9th. Bacon really struggling as the weather continues to get worse, and Buell will be coming through as well. But you know what, good for him for finishing, because that could have been really frustrating. And oh, Andre Ivan, I know what's causing this weird 20-second penalty. It's because you leave before the session's actually done. But yeah, weird spin across the finish line for Bacon, and Buell had another spin on the straight. But we will look at the championship leader and winner of this race provisionally, Yari, and Nadim in second, only just behind him. And Invisible, his first race back and a win. I'd actually genuinely think the reason why people are getting the 20-second penalties is because the game's glitch is because they leave the session before the end. The game's given driver of the day to Too Fast For You. And he put on a good race. But I got to say, I think it deserves to go to Nadim for not picking up a single penalty, and the only driver not to pick up a single penalty there. And regardless of that, he also had a fantastic race, racing up to second place. But my pick for who would likely take the win did take the win, and that was Yari, championship leader, extending his championship lead. And final results, and getting points for the fastest lap. Final results, it's Yari that winning the race by 1.2 seconds ahead of Nadim, who didn't get a penalty. Invisible in third, Prince fourth, Keza fourth, Jordan Mason will take sixth, Maggot 7th, Andre Ivan 8th, Renzi 9th, Too Fast For You 12th, Sammy in 11th, Bacon taking 12th, and Buell in 13th. And the only DNF, Lanzi, still not entirely sure what happened there. But unfortunately ended up as a DNF on the back straight. I'm sure we'll find. I'm sure we'll hear what happened there. But again, a fantastic race here at C1 on PS4, and well, it'll be 2 weeks before the next race, and I hope to definitely be here again to bring the race to you, and we will be looking forward to that. So see you again in 2 weeks when C1 and the PS5 and PS4 returns. See you then.